that it's very important, for people to understand that reorientation, that education is not just about doing certain courses. Some people can go for vocational training.
Sure.
If you already have like secondary school education or high school education, you can just say, oh, well, this is a skill I want to develop. Maybe because I like it, maybe because I don't like it, but I just know that it pays well and I would like to do this kind of job. So you can see someone straight out of secondary school saying, well, if I'm not getting to university just yet, let me learn this skill, which we see a lot of that these days. It's just that people are not totally canceling the school thing. So they learn the skill, they pick it up along the way, then they go with the whole school thing. So you're just saying people should embrace more vocational training as opposed to focusing so much on the formal education.
Focus on that too. You can eat your cake and have it.
Truly, I completely agree.
Megan Thee Stallion.
I completely agree with you. So let's also talk about the pandemic. You said the pandemic was the genesis of some of, this unconventional job types. But if you remember, we had some particular content creators that came to fame, during the course of the pandemic. And one of them was Elsa Majimbo. Everybody was bored that time. It was the easiest time to get anyone's attention because nobody knew what was going to happen next. You couldn't lie that you had the plans for the next day. So you know how much uncertainty, had filled that period of time. But that was where a lot of people, as content creators, got the attention of other people on social media. Now we've seen someone like Elsa Majimbo that just sprang to fame because of, the content that she was putting out at the time. What do you think about that? It's not the same for everybody. Not everybody just gets to blow up like that. Not everybody gets the idea to put things out on the pandemic, during the pandemic. And I don't know, is there a rule to content creation? Can anyone just embrace it? Can I just wake up tomorrow morning and say, it's like content is the way, or they say it's king. Can I try it too? So what do you think about that? It works for some, doesn't work for some.
Yeah, I've always been of the opinion that no matter what it is, or no matter the content that you have in mind to do or that you're doing, there's always somebody that wants to know about it. So Elsa just literally eats Pringles and it's funny to us, right? And this guy that does this thing. And he earns a lot of money just doing that.
Exactly.
I feel like what the pandemic did was that it opened up our minds. And because of the period of solitude, we're just home, not doing anything. So we had time to think. A lot of times we are just always on the run. We don't give ourselves that break to actually think of, what next can we do?
True.
Like me, for example, I started my YouTube during the pandemic. It's something I'd always wanted to do. I'd even gotten like my gadgets ready, but I didn't have the time to like put 2 plus 2 together and say, okay, let me start. Now there's an opportunity, the whole world like is paused.
On a standstill.
So I knew that, okay, it's either now, because I don't know when the next pandemic would be. So I had time on my hands. We all did. We all had time on our hands. And I decided to make something out of it. There is no rule to content creation. As long as, now this is very tricky. What I say is, for you to be a content creator, you have to put yourself in the position of your audience. Whatever you're creating, can you watch it? Can you listen to it? If they were to put a price on it, would you buy it? So that's the only thing I just say about content creation. See, some people can be doing like the barest minimum. Elsa doesn't wear clothes. She doesn't dress up. Do you understand what I mean? She's just there with her 2 hands. So there is nothing that you are dishing out or that you're serving to people that there is nothing. There is nothing. You see people do travel vlogs and people are like, mukbangs. Am I joking? People are just there eating. And people are consuming that content like, wow. People can just literally be doing like this. And somebody is buying what they are selling. So there's no content, there's no rule to content creation. But whatever you are creating, just ensure that if we're going to flip it, you can also watch.
You can also take the side of the viewer or the audience. Okay, so now we see that most of the contents that sell are funny content a lot of time. And funny is relative.
Yeah.
Mostly funny content.
Yeah.
People want to laugh, people want to be entertained.
Yeah.
So is there really a place for content that is not funny? People who don't have, the whole comedy side, comedic side, can they actually venture into the whole content creation thing?
Of course. One thing about skit makers, one thing about making a skit is if you have it, you have it. You can't force laughter. You understand? Because you come out as somebody that is trying so hard and trying so hard.
That in itself could also be
Yes,
Your
this man
attention
that
grabber.
dances vibe killer.
The one
that never gets
it. The one that never gets it right.
I'm sure it was just a mistake, honest
was a
mistake.
mistake.
I thought that you had done other ones and they were giving, they were equally funny. You understand what I mean? So sometimes that's what I'm saying. He didn't try to not know the song. He just did not know the song, and it turned out that people were feeling it.
People were feeling
Do you understand what I mean? But if you tried like, I want to be funny, you will not be funny. Like nobody. It's only
You're
you.
not a funny person.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about this issue, and I like how you're doing justice to this topic. But before we go any further, I mean, we have the Gen Z, then we have the millennials. One thing that I want to point out is these are not the only generations that they are now. You know, you spoke about how your parents, you know, used to work at with the government, or used to work with the government. You know, many of our parents, for example, don't yet know what to do with this. Some parents still say, what are you doing in front of the camera every day? Go and get a job. Do you understand? So you also talk about the need for a reorientation, but I think this is the generation that we're in now. How do you think the older generation can, you know, embrace this time, embrace these job types? I'm going to give you an example, because during the NSAS protest, this was one of the purposes of the NSAS protest, to educate people, the law enforcement agencies, that people who are in the creative line, people who do jobs like this, people who carry gadgets, people who go out with a drone, people who go out with cameras, people who go out with laptops, you know, are not criminals, because you don't understand the type of work that they do. So this was one of the purposes of NSAS protest. It's clear that not everyone from an older generation understands, you know, what this new job, unconventional job types are all about. So what do you think, you know, other people can do to embrace and to tap into, you know, this new wave of unconventional jobs?
Okay, I like that you asked this question, because till tomorrow, my mom is going to call me to say, what are you really doing? What are you really doing? And I think they will never understand it. They start seeing the money. That's like the sign that you're actually doing something good, if you know what I mean. But I can tell you that as much as my mom doesn't understand what I'm doing,
She supports?
yeah, crazily, she would tell anybody that cares to listen. My daughter is a YouTuber. Open your phones and watch her videos, you know. But I think as a gradual process, the same way they've all now come to love Facebook so much is the same way they will start learning to love content creation. And I'm going to tell you this. On YouTube, for example, we see people, mothers. My mommy teaches Yoruba in a government school, and I told her that, okay, you know what, you can start creating content. They might not understand it as content. You can just say videos. You can start making videos, educating people on the basics of Yoruba. Now, this kind of thing, people will understand it abroad. Like people that
the demand for it is somewhere.
They would love it. When you come and you start teaching them what 1, 2, 3 ABC is in Yoruba, they would like something like that. Then you're creating content. Really, it's not even so deep. That's like the basic way to explain it to anybody that cares to listen. And I was telling my uncle too that is into business and finance. You can have sections where you're educating people on how to make business, what kind of business to go into in 2022, what kind of books to read to get this kind of
business ideas.
Yes, these are content creation, and if it's bringing you money, right, it's a job, right? If it's paying you, it is a stipend, right? You're getting stipend from it. You are getting, it's a career. You're making a career out of it. So I think these are the little ways we can educate these older folks that this is what I am doing. I'm basically selling out videos for people to see. I put out my videos for people to see, and then they buy it. The one I know that they might have issues understanding is like maybe TikTok, Instagram Reels, and all these other things that we have.
I have issues understanding TikTok.
Old woman.
No, but TikTok is more, you know, it's complicated.
It's more complicated. And I'm even saying, like, I'm not even talking about them understanding the application. I'm talking about them understanding content for me, like, why is there an app? Like, what if it folds up today? What are you gonna do? You understand?
Why are you concerned about the numbers?
There is that, because one of the reasons why they will always advise that you go for a lucrative job as a way, or to be a medical doctor or
stability.
A lawyer, is for job stability. You know, they are like, okay, there's a system that has already been put in place, and you just come into the system and you make money off the system. So they're like, why not just do that instead of, to be honest, it comes from a place of concern. But I feel like if you don't give people the room to grow because you're concerned, there's a problem. So as much as they're concerned for you, you also have to put in the work and show them that their concerns too could actually become money. You understand what I'm saying? So
I like the fact that you pointed out that most times the concern comes from the concern is from a good place. It's not because
they do not like what you're doing.
They do not want you to explore.
Do not, because back in the day, it was not something that I would see. Pay photo, like you're taking pictures, that's what they call you. And it was not something that was paying well. But T.Y. Bello has defiled that odds, you know what I'm saying? There are so many people that they charge like for a shoot for a day. They're charging what one person's 1 month salary can take. You understand what I'm saying? So if you sit down and tell them that, oh, this and this and this and this is what I'm doing. This is what, like, basically just have a plan. Because these people, they don't like to play. They don't like vague any explanations. Tell them that this is what you're doing. This is how I get paid. I work, aside from YouTube, I work with an international organization. And my mom called me some few days back and she's like, what exactly do you do there? And I was explaining to her, my mommy fell asleep. You know what I mean? She just slept off and I'm like, it's not your fault. Like, I get it, but you can just always make them understand in whatever possible way you can to know that this is what you're doing, this is why you love it, and this is the money that it's getting.
Yeah, that part is very important.
They will feel you.
Okay, so I mean, I like the fact that you've said a whole lot of things about this topic, and the thing is, with the rise of unconventional job types comes the rise of criminal unconventional job types. So we've talked about the positive ones, we've talked about the good ones. People are now embracing this, I'm a photographer, oh, I'm a YouTuber, oh, I'm a content creator, oh, I'm an influencer, But then there are unconventional job types that are on the rise now that people are embracing that are also criminal, that are against the law. And because people are saying there's unemployment in the land, anything you can do to make money is more important to make money than to do, some things that are legit. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I get you.
Yes, so what would your message be to people who are embracing unconventional job types that are not
into crimes?
That are criminal? Okay,
so when EDSA started, a lot of people in my mom's generation were like, yeah, they're doing the right thing. Why you with laptop? You know what I'm saying? And they would, if you mention cryptocurrency to my mommy, she's asking Yahoo still. And I'm like, they are different. One is a cyber crime and one is an actual job. You know what I'm saying? They still do not get it. And just the same way somebody will see you in a dyed hair and just assume, or like piercings or anything, and just assume that you're a runs girl. It's just the same way that these people will still assume that. What do I have to say to people that are
choosing unconventional job types that are criminal, for example? So it's like, oh, everybody's doing things. Someone's wearing a badge as influencer. Okay, I too wear a badge, I'm a Yahoo boy. Or I too wear a badge, this is what I do. People are getting more proud of whatever it is that they do to make money. That's what I'm saying. So as unconventional as it is, it's starting to not really matter if it's criminal
because
or
we
not.
encourage it. We encourage it in this part of the world. You see a lot of tweets now saying, if you do not earn a certain amount, I cannot date you. And I'm like, how do you expect somebody that is 25 years old, earning a good amount of 200,000 per month, to take you to a 5-star hotel, buy you dinner, buy you Gucci, buy you these designer bags? How? I feel like as much as these people are into those crimes, we also encourage it.
By putting society puts pressure.
Yes, you know that your son is not doing a job to bring him a Benz, and he's bringing a Benz into the house, and you are celebrating him, telling people he's working online. What kind of work exactly is he doing? So as much as we shy away from it, really and truly, in this part of the world, we encourage people like that. You are blaming your boyfriend for not having money because he has a decent living, and comparing him to somebody that is earning because the person is into cyber crimes. Do you understand what I'm saying? So putting pressure on these younger ones to be a provider of the family. What happened to you, daddy? What happened to you, mommy? Do you understand what I'm saying? We have like a clouded expectations of people, right? So you assume that as soon as you're 25 years or 26 years of age, this and this and this and this is what you're supposed to be doing. But let me ask you, when our fathers were 25 and 26, they were not even smelling marriage. They were not even thinking, they were still like probably in the university. So why do you feel like you should now put pressure on these younger ones to deliver? You understand what I'm saying? So I don't really have words for them. I just feel like everybody, not everybody, mostly we encourage these people. We celebrate them, right? We see people that would not, ordinarily, we know cannot afford surgeries, but they get their body done, and we are there hyping them on Instagram.
Well, I think honestly, you probably may not have much to say to them, but I think it's something to still look into. The appropriate authorities should still look into this. And I think what they should do is try to understand what are these unconventional job types, which are criminal and against the law, and which are actually not criminal and legit jobs that people are doing, and do their best to discourage people from going into these criminal activities. And at the end of the day, just like what the NSAS protest was all about, they should not stigmatize or antagonize the people that are actually doing the legit jobs. So it's just a case of trying to understand these are unconventional, what is lawful, what is not lawful, and keep people accountable to the law. Basically, I think that's what I'll say about that. So I've had a very interesting conversation with you on this segment. You have spilled. You have spilled your shared so much. So I really appreciate it. But at this point, we're going to go on a short break. When we get back, we're coming into another segment, which is social media roundup segment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.